Hi everybody, welcome back to our YouTube channel. So for today's video, we will discuss about comparing economic systems. So keep watching to learn more. But first, meet the group. We have La Vega Ayla May, Lirasan Nina Lanel, and Layson Ivan K. Anyway, let's start the discussion. Socialism. Society in the form of the government owns the means of production and key infrastructure. So, socialism, broadly speaking, it is a political and economic system in which property and the means of production are owned in common, typically controlled by the state or the government. Socialism is based on the idea that common or public ownership of resources and means of production leads to more equal society. For example, no one will receive a healthcare bill when going to the doctor because they and everyone else have paid a hefty amount in government taxes. That's where the collective cooperation comes in. Here are the principles of socialism. First is equality of all people. Proponents of socialism believe that it leads to a more equal distribution of goods and services and a more equitable society. Next is cooperation is better than competition. This means that socialist ideals include production for use rather than per profit, and equitable distribution of wealth and material resources among all people, no more competitive buying and selling in the market, and free access to goods and services. Lastly, the idea is not just political equality but social and economic as well. All legal production and distribution decisions are made by the government in a socialist system. The government also determines all output and pricing levels and supplies its citizens with everything from food to healthcare. Democratic socialism. It is a form of socialism which emphasizes that both the economy and society should be run democratically, and that the goal is to meet the needs of all the people, not just a rich few. Some socialists argue that socialism does not necessarily require the government to run everything. Instead, business institutions should be run by those workers and consumers that are affected by them. This could be implemented, for example, as worker-run cooperatives or publicly owned enterprises managed by workers and consumer representatives. Here are some socialist countries. These are China, Venezuela, Russia, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Finland, France, Canada, and Germany.
Capitalism. Capitalism is an economic system in which private individuals or businesses own capital goods. The production of goods and services is based on supply and demand in the general market, known as the market economy, rather than through central planning, known as a planned economy or command economy. The purest form of capitalism is free market. Here, private individuals are unrestrained. They may determine where to invest, what to produce or sell, and at which prices to exchange goods and services. How does capitalism works? In a capitalist economy, capital assets, such as factories, mines, and railroads, can be privately owned and controlled. Labor is purchased for money wages, capital gains to private owners, and prices allocate capital and labor between competing uses. And now let's have the advantages and disadvantages of capitalism. First, the advantages of capitalism. So, optimization of resources leads to increased individual wealth, increases consumer choices, and more efficient production. And while the disadvantages of capitalism are unequal distribution of wealth, could result in cost to the environment, propensity for industrial unrest, labor could be undervalued and exploited. Communism. It is a political system in which the government owns all property and is ruled by one party with complete control over the economy. No private property will exist. Every person will work for the welfare of all, from each according to his ability, to each according to his need, also known as planned economy. And now, let's have the communism advantages and disadvantages. So first, the advantages. The advantages of communism are, it embodies equality, it makes healthcare, education, and employment accessible to citizens, and it does not allow business monopolies. While the disadvantages of communism are, first, it hampers personal growth, it dictates on the people, and it does not give financial freedom. In this picture, we can see the 5 communist countries of the world, which are China, Laos, Cuba, North Korea, and Vietnam. In China, Mao Zedong took over China in 1949 and proclaimed the nation as the People's Republic of China, a communist country. China has remained consistently communist since then, and the country has been called Red China due to the Communist Party's control. In Cuba, a revolution in 1953 led to the takeover of the Cuban government by Fidel Castro. By 1965, Cuba became a fully communist country and developed close ties to the Soviet Union, and at the same time, the United States imposed a ban on all trade with Cuba. In Laos, officially the Lao People's Democratic Republic became a communist country in the 1975 following a revolution supported by the Vietnam and Soviet Union. The country had previously been a monarchy. In North Korea, Korea before was occupied by Japan during World War II, and after the war, it was divided into a Russian-dominated North and an American-occupied South. At the same time, no one thought the partition would be permanent, but the division has lasted. And the last is the Vietnam. Vietnam was partitioned at a 1954 conference that followed the First Indochina War. While the partition was supposed to be temporary, North Vietnam became communist and was supported by the Soviet Union, while South Vietnam became democratic and was supported by the United States. So in comparing economic system between communism, democratic socialism, and capitalism, do you have different economic conditions, economic efficiency, employment, and standard of living. So this is the chapter 6 lesson 2b, comparing economic system. And thank you for watching.